We try and keep to time at these sessions. So we're going to go into the first session. I'd like to thank Elias Rosemberg, who has come all the way from Newton in Massachusetts, which is near Boston. It is in Boston. Elias has a glittering CV. Elias has a glittering CV. He's been at his current Temple Emanuel in Newton for 18 years. Before that, he was in Buenos Aires, where at a shul called Lamroth Hakol, which means
inspirable.
Inspirable, yes. Inspirable. I am. There's lots more to his CV, which I'll also upload to the website. And incidentally, if I didn't say it earlier, continue to look at the program on the website for any small changes that might happen. But without further ado, over to Elias, and we'll plug you in.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I want to thank all the organizers of this special, Alex, Russell, and Isidoro, and Matt. Really remarkable what you're doing, and thank you for the invitation. My first time in Germany, and happy to share about my upbringing and the traditions of the Latin American Jews. Here we have my helper, the Argentinian Cantor Russell, and all right, so let's begin. You know, this is funny. How many Jews does it take to put together a PowerPoint and to play it? So, all right. So when we talk about Latin America, we talk about any country that is below United States, down south, and it goes from the north in Mexico to all the way down south in Argentina. If you are good in geography, you know what I'm talking about. And basically, the majority of these countries are Spanish-speaking countries, because obviously the Spanish conquerors, you know, from Spain, they discovered America in 1492, and all the tradition started. Brazil, the biggest country, and we have somebody from Sao Paulo here. So let's not talk about soccer, so football. So they speak Portuguese, and there are other small countries who speak a different language. So I'm going to sit in order to play. So, all right. So let's begin. So it doesn't work for me. Maybe it's long. Oh, there you go. So this is such an important diagram in terms of immigration to Argentina from Europe. All right. You can see that in different periods, in addition of the thicker arrow that you can see there of the Jews going to the United States, we have that the biggest migration of Jews from Europe is to Argentina. In the first period, you see that about 115,000. Second period, from 1950 to 1931, it's a little smaller, 80,000. And then 35,000 in the last period. That is followed by Brazil. And then obviously different parts of the world, South Africa, Australia, and the United States and Canada. So basically the second biggest migration to any other country outside of Europe is Argentina. And for the most part, we are going to center on that. So, Russell, can you help me with this?
Yes.
Yes.
Will you share the presentation with us after?
Yes.
Oh, please show me.
There you go. What do you do? Just press this mouse. Ah, okay. Mouse. That what does it. All right. This is more or less the stage of the Jewish populations in the Latin American countries. You see that Argentina is the biggest currently. You know, about 225,000, followed by Brazil, and in much smaller scale, you have all these countries in South America. In Mexico, currently, it's about 40,000 people. So just to give you an idea of what we are going to talk about. Somebody said something?
Panama?
Panama, very small. Panama is about 8,000.
Not the least.
No, we don't like Panamanians. No, just. Yeah, Panama, by the way, I have relatives there. Panama is a very strong Jewish community. The majority of them are Sephardim. And they have fabulous kosher restaurants and supermarket. And it's clean. You know, it's an oxymoron, kosher and clean. And it works really well. And I've been there, it's a lovely, the majority are very traditional. There is only one Chabad Lubavitch and no conservative movement. Now, when we talk about Argentina in the map, it's down south. If you've been there, it's a great country to be from, not to live in. So, I mean, we have some Argentinians here. So, population of 43 millions, and basically the main language is Spanish. There are smaller communities, and very important, there is an official religion. There is no separation of state and church, and the Roman Catholic is the religion. Okay, now, when we are talking about Argentina, the center of the Jewish life in Argentina is Buenos Aires, with about 180,000 people, followed by different places, Córdoba, Rosario, Santa Fe, and different others. 80% Ashkenazic, 20% Sephardic, although the Sephardic look, don't ask me why, but they look like they are much more, many more. And the Sephardic influence very much in the Jewish community, in food, and in different traditions that we have done. A few landmarks of the Argentinian Jewish history. Again, we are focusing on this country not only during the presentation, we will talk eventually about other countries, but this is where the massive Jewish immigration started in South America. It's important to notice that Marranos, the secret Jews, most of them Sephardic, settled in Argentina in response to the Inquisition. There are also some theories that talk that when Columbus discovered America in the ship, there were a lot of Jews conversos escaping the Inquisition in Spain, and they found a new place to live. Wow. So the first Jewish migration was 1860, and I'm sorry, 1813, but first 1860 was the first Jewish wedding in Buenos Aires, and the first congregation founded soon afterwards. There is a story that you can read in every book in the Jewish tradition of the South American Jews, that in a main square in Buenos Aires, there was somebody seated, and it's about the time for lunch. And there's another person coming, they started talking, and they realized that none of them are eating. And one asked the other, why you are not eating? Well, because of religious principles, religious traditions, and the other one says the same. So they happened to be the first two Jews in Buenos Aires. And they created the Templo Libertad. The Temple Libertad is a synagogue that had a history of the greatest Hazzanim we are going to hear in Buenos Aires.
One question, the Marranos come from Spain to Argentina?
Yes.
Why?
After 1492, because basically, you know, one of the first synagogues in Latin America is in Recife, in Brazil, and that was by the Dutch who went to
they exist today, the Marranos, or no?
Yes.
If they exist, they don't know. They don't know they are, you know, descendants of the Jews. Everybody who is from Sephardic background in Argentina is, you know, out in the community, you know, really professing the religion.
Sorry, is it possible to dim a little bit the lights? Because we have,
I'll show you what happens. You may prefer it on A or B, but I'll show you what happens.
sorry.
Yeah, it's better to see.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Would you prefer B?
Yeah, now, Matt, you were asking me about 1889. Mosesville was a Jewish colony. What a name, right? Mosesville. And it's the newly arrived Jewish gauchos. Gauchos, what does it mean? Basically, imagine Jews from Europe. They are thrown in the land of Argentina, isolated, nothing to do. They have to start working. you know, in the middle of nowhere, and they became gauchos, which is the equivalent of the cowboys. The Jewish cowboys, Jewish gauchos, it's a similar thing. My family were one of those. They went from Ukraine down to Argentina, and my relatives, you know, were born and grew up in Entre Rios, which is a different place, and then slowly they started moving to the city. Yes. But very importantly, this is something that is very important to notice. Why was the immigration to Argentina bigger than any other country in South America? That had to do with the Baron Maurice of Hirsch, who found the Jewish Colonization Association. He was Russian, and he created some kind of arrangement with the Argentinian government to populate the Pampas, the places in Argentina where they had no population at all. Argentina needed the people, and the Jewish people needed a better place to go. From 1906, 1912, we have a bigger immigration of Moroccan Jews, the Ottoman Empire. I'm part of a mixed marriage. My wife is Moroccan, so actually it's a very, very beautiful tradition, and they have their own synagogues and costumes and everything. Of course, in 1930, numerous Jews, I mean, it's not here, but a lot of the Jewish people settled in Argentina escaping the Holocaust. I served for 10 years, as you heard before, in Lamroth Hakol. In spite of all, it's a German Jewish synagogue, and that was created by German Jews who escaped during Kristallnacht, and they went down to Argentina and created this congregation. For the first 3 decades, this congregation had services in German and in Hebrew, no Spanish at all, and then they started to assimilate more. Of course, a lot of Nazis settled in Argentina as well after the war. The Argentinian President Perón was a big sympathizer of the Nazi regime. He had a very good relationship with Mussolini from Italy, and the same place that the Jews were looking for safe haven, they found also this. All right, so here we have some publications that are interesting to show. You have on one hand, 1931 on the top left, dictionary Spanish and Yiddish. The second one from 1956 is the Hebrew alphabet that we use in Lamroth Hakol. And then on the far right, it's fabulous. It says Congregaciones Israelitas de Marruecos. So it's obviously the Jews from Morocco, the different book. And then at the bottom, we have some modern stuff. This is the latest Hiddur that is used down in Argentina. Let's begin a little bit about talking about Sephardic music. I want to divide this class in 3 big groups. Sephardic music, Yiddish music that will include also klezmer and tango, and then Cantorial. So, fabulous picture you see here on the top left. It's 1940, I don't know if you can read this, it says 1940, a musical group from Aleppo in Syria, and there's a family. So it's a tawil family, clarinet and harp, and then singer and different also members of that. And that is on the right, that is the Moroccan Jewish congregation in Street Piedras. Beautiful, gorgeous, gorgeous building. Now, let's begin talking about some of the most iconic Sephardic singers in Argentina. This one is Eleonora Alberti, also a soprano and researcher in the Jewish repertoire, and she has published a lot of books and recorded a lot of recordings. So, Russell, can we play? Let's play the second one. Moshe salió de Mitzrayim. It means basically, Betzet Israel mi Mitzrayim, that we recite during Pesach. So it's Moses left Egypt.
Encontró
wasn't not just kidding. So we don't have time to listen to all the entire recordings. When we play a little bit of Adona Selichot, you probably are familiar with this melody. Adona Selichot. So let's hear it. It's sung a little differently, you know, when you hear it in Israel, especially during Slichot at the Kotel. It's gorgeous, you cannot miss it. Very important at the bottom, in the year 2000, she received from the Spanish government recognition for her work promoting the Judeo-Spanish music in Latin America, which is actually big. Thank you, Russell. Let's move to the next one. Ramon Tassat. So Ramon Tassat is great friend of mine, and he was also a teacher and mentor for me when I was in the Cantorial school down in Argentina called Beta Saf. He was already here in America, in Washington, D.C., and he traveled down to Argentina to give master's class, and very talented, also a musicologist, and he has done many books. You can see here on the top right, he also did some research about the Jews from Italy, and did a beautiful book. I highly recommend that. So let's hear a little bit. Hiddur Mitzvah. It's also another beautiful record. He's actually playing the guitar. Very talented, as you can hear.
He did my bar mitzvah.
Yes, and I never know how he can sing that high, you know, in the tessiture. The next song, it's a very, very fascinating combination that I only heard him singing, which is Isha Mia, which is my daughter combined with Eladon. Let's hear a little bit of that. Going to sing, don't worry.
Speak about in this melody.
Isha Mia Eladon. So it talks about, it's not related to Eladon actually, but it's a combination. It's talking about my daughter and
my daughter wants to marry like a here's a nice chacham. No, I want this Borracho, the strong guy.
So, but it's fascinating. Happy to share this presentation with all of you so you can hear the... Oop, I went too far. Yes, so here we have a couple of artists. I don't have recordings, but let's talk a little bit about them. Dina Roth, also an Argentinian, she passed away. She was, although not Sephardic, she was very important in the evolution of Spanish Latin American music. And then Fortuna is from Brazil. Do you know Fortuna? Yes, Fortuna, a wonderful singer from Brazil. She has published several recordings and also very important. You can see the name Fortunesa Fie Joyce. And yeah, so these are important. All right, so we are going to move on. Do you have any questions so far?
How come Yiddish to Argentina?
Now,
What is the connection between Yiddish and the Sephardic?
nothing. I'm just trying to show, you know what.
Why come Yiddish?
I'm just trying to show, give you an exposure of all the different styles of music that is done. Okay? Because when we talk about Jewish music, you have to incorporate Sephardic and Ashkenazi. Yes?
The first picture you showed from an ensemble from Syria. Yes, but you call them Sephardic music. How you can differentiate the Mizrahi Jews that come to a land that speaks Spanish, so they probably mix with Ladino, but they are not Sephardic, they are Mizrahi.
You're right, that is a very good observation. The reason they went to Argentina is obviously because although these communities spoke Ladino, and Ladino is very close to Spanish. So they feel comfortable that this is a country they could emigrate, or any other country, like in Panama, like in Venezuela, there are a lot of both, you know, Mizrahi Jews and Sephardic Jews. So the Moroccans, for example, the Moroccans don't like to be called Sephardic. Anytime I call my mother-in-law Sephardic, she says, don't say that, you know, I'm Moroccan. So it's interesting. It's interesting. We, the Ashkenazic people, tend to put them in the same bag all the time, and I know it's wrong. So good observation.
Thank you.
Yes. Yiddish music. Okay? All right. Here we have some interesting pictures here about Teatro Excelsior, obviously, Teatro Limbo, theaters, in the same way that in New York City was famous because of the Jewish theater. In Argentina happened the same thing. If you look at the middle one, Isidoro, you have somebody here named Isidoro as well. Isidoro Zuckerman. This was in 1920, I don't think you were alive in those days. So, El Huésped de Ultratumba, oh my God. So, how would you translate that? So, the host of the from Olam. Ultratumba means like a super deep in the ground. Anyways, El Gran Amante, Solomon Strayberg, was a great lover. So Yiddish theater was really, really important, and that was the way that the immigrants connected with their culture. Another great star was Molly Picon. Molly Picon was an American singer, and she
was in Vienna.
Yes. Yeah, she also toured Argentina. She was in Argentina, but she toured for a couple of years. The Diablillo, Teatro Excelsior, and that was between the period of 1930 to 1936. And then it's Molly Picon, Ay que muchacha, oh what a girl. What a girl. Interesting, there are some you know, legends, I don't know if these are really true, that around that time, you know, you hear some of the recordings that Molly Picon made popular with Abe Elstein. They had a very much of a tango influence. So there are some people who say that she liked tango very much when she visited Argentina, so they came up with this idea of writing something. But you have to understand that also tango was popular here in Europe as well. And although from Argentina origins, tango traveled around the world, and so who knows? All right, so let's talk about these two people who were really important. The These are Leon Weiner and Rivka Kliniki. So you can see here these two people. So a lot of people immigrated, a lot of musicians, singers, actors, they immigrated to Argentina looking for a better future. At one point in history, Argentina was the 4th richest country in the world. And that is the reason that no matter what horrible politicians or governments there are in Argentina, there is always, they always have money to keep going because the soil down there, it's so beautiful. All right, can we play a couple of songs? Sing Still, if you want to play that. These are compositions made by Leon Weiner. Anybody understands Yiddish well and can tell what they were talking about?
No.
I was reading the Hulu.
Yes.
Yeah, I understand it.
And at that point it's a nigun, like a melody. All right, beautiful. We don't have time to listen to the other song. So, there you go. All right, now this was the star of the Yiddish theater in Argentina. Hebel Katz. Hebel, the J in Spanish, it's a ch, like a chet. All right, Hebel Katz was a star. Look at this. If you look at the last point in the bio, he was so popular that it said that 40,000 people attended his funeral. And he became like a legend in Argentina. He was born in Vilna. What's so fabulous about him is that he would combine Spanish with Yiddish, and he put that into the works. So the songs are mostly funny. So can we play Mucho Ojo, which means good sight or a lot of sight?
Ich stopp mir in die Form, alle motiert die Haar, und wir fahren ein Form, die Leben vor dem Schaf. Forst die Land in Weißen, was in Sachen bringt, guck die Wege sein, ihr Hoffen gut am Licht,
Beautiful, that was great.
Awesome.
Perfect. Good ending. Can we hear voices here? Please.
In a Winkel Argentina, Moschia ist schon drauf. Ist nicht kein Christen, Rieden, klein und groß. Der Abteiger und der Beide, der Kommissar und Huis in Mosesville. Mein Drehstädter Mosesville. Mein Schirmheimer ist ein jüdischer Bediener, ist der Stolz von Argentina, Mosesville.
And a little bit of Paso de Paso, that is where my family is from, Paso de Paso, in Entre Rios. Moises lives in another place called Santa Fe.
Ihr setzt sich noch allein in Bahn, Estación La Grosse. Wenn ich kein Christen 5. Klasse, vor primera Klasse. Ihr werft nur suchen, als ihr wollt kein Wasser, wie Basso. Wasser, wie Basso, Städtele mein.
So he's talking about when you are from Buenos Aires and you want to take the train to Paso Bilbaso, you are expecting to see, regular people, but then you find Moshe and Abraham and everybody from the Old Testament.
Irregular people.
Right.
Elias,
Yes.
these are his compositions.
Yes, Heber Katz are his compositions. The Moises Villa and Mucho Ojo were sung by him. Paso Bilbaso was sung by Max Salkin, the guy on the right, and he recorded more than 50 long plays. Of a lot of the music of Heber Katz. I have some sheet music of him, and there is actually a documentary made about Heber Katz.
And he also wrote the lyrics.
Sorry?
He also wrote the lyrics?
Yes, he was unbelievable. Alright.
So you mean in the same piece he sang in 2 languages?
Sorry, say that again?
Like the combination of the languages, you mean on the same piece?
Yes, Spanish and Yiddish. Yes. It was Spanish, but it was like slang, like the dialect that people speak. All right. Also very important people here. We have Benzion Wittler and Shifra Lehrer, singers. None of them, Benzion Wittler was not Argentinian. He was born in, doesn't say where he was born. Yes. So, Bells, yes. Oh, Vienna, and has been religious. He met Shifra Lehrer, who was an Argentinian born American Yiddish theater actress. And here you have a little bit. Let's play Lo Mira Le Singen, that is a Zemmel, it's a well-known song. They sing this as a duet. Almost there. Beautiful, another song, girls. Let's move on so we can finish on time. Rosita Lottler and Henry Guerro, husband and wife. Beautiful also, great, prominent singers in Yiddish. They have a son that it says in the third paragraph, Moshe. He's actually a rabbi in Miami, Mario Roisman, Moshe Roisman. He was in the congregation Bethel. And if you hear Mario Roisman sometimes singing and doing harmonies with any Hazzan that he may have, it's unbelievable the talent, and because he grew up in this beautiful family. So can we hear the top one?
Den Sings Meisele.
It's composed by Henry Guerra. You're getting better by the minute. Unbelievable. Alright, so let's move on. This mouse doesn't want to go. Okay, let's go to klezmer music a little bit, because klezmer has been also very important there in Argentina. Lerner and Mogilevsky are perhaps the most well-known duet. As you can see, they named one of the albums Paso Bilbaso, one of the songs that we heard before, because their family are from there. These couple tour around the world. So yeah, let's play the music so you can read the value of the music. this, but Mogilevsky was playing, I don't know how to say in English, the Khalil, the small recorder. And very talented, amazing. Each one of them plays like 6 instruments. And if you get a chance to see them at any festival, I highly recommend. Now, a more modern group is the Linetsky Trio. Let's play the Freilich in C minor. These are 3 brothers who play music together. Amazing, what a talent. So, this is, as you can see, much more traditional. Learner and Mobilexi are much more into different. So, sorry we are going too fast, but I want to finish on time. We are in Germany, so
You're not in Germany, you're in Berlin.
There you go. All right. Now, Yiddish tango. Yiddish tango is a fabulous type of music that started down there. And we have many people, many exponents of this. You see here on the left, Jose Kurkowski made 2 books about the tango and the history of the tango, made in a big part by Argentinian Jews. But also here on the left, we have Yorka Xasis, who travels the world and she sings Yiddish tango. So Yiddish tango, as you may know, there are a lot of composers who unfortunately were in the concentration camps, in the ghettos, who wrote tangos during the Holocaust period, and there are a lot of books published of that kind of music, so she focuses more on that. So come we hear Tango Margarita, and you have the translation here of the song in the middle. Jewish tango and Yiddish tango, it's like a whole class on its own.
So you mean like it's evolved, this world?
This
tango?
type of music, you would say?
Yeah, tango Yiddish.
Yes, there are people who only do Yiddish tango here in Europe, in different countries. There are groups in Italy, there are groups in Poland, obviously they're very much into. All right, here you have a few publications as we hear more into cantorial music. Guillermo Gretzer at the bottom, he published a couple of things, and here on the left, on the right, you can tell that this is part of the Atikva, but if you look carefully, it's the older version of Atikva, all right, before 1948. Right. So here on the second system we have second bar, Alright, that's the previous version of Atikva. Beautiful.
Which I learned as a child.
Yes, exactly. The older version, so this book obviously is published before 1948. And then Leon Weiner published 2 books. The first one on the top, and the second one, songs 1939 to 1962. Let's take a look at cantorial music a little bit. Here we have a picture on the top left of Cantor Aaron Goodman in congregation El Paso, which is gorgeous, beautiful. So the 2 center synagogues of cantorial music were in Buenos Aires, Temple Libertad and Temple Paso. Libertad and Paso are the street names. So although they have their own names, the synagogues, they were known by the streets that they were located, Carmen Bites. And here you have from a book just the name of different Hazzanim in the past. So, yeah, beautiful. Now, let's talk about Leon. What was that? Leon Gidecker. He was the cantor of Moisesville, all right? Ivane, that was the synagogue. He created, maybe Matt or any scholar or Isidoro or anybody who has access to different things. In his bio it says that he created the Conservatory Sulzer in Jewish music in Argentina. Never heard of that before in my life. There are no traces of any kind like that. So if anybody can volunteer to come up with something about that, I will be very happy to see.
Leon Gidecker wrote a book in Yiddish and Spanish about Hazzanim from Europe and Hazzanim from Argentina. It's a very nice and rare book, and I can bring it tomorrow, so you can have a look.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about this. This was one of my dad's favorite Hazzanim, David Itzkov. And are you able to open that YouTube link? He was a great Hazzan, and these are, this is my record. I own these records. All the music I own, so this belonged to my grandfather. This is the old Cantorial style. It's online. You can go to the YouTube and find this, as well as the next Hazzan, Pinchas Borenstein. Can we hear him a little bit?
Yeah.
Look at the last one from the last paragraph. It says, beyond his work in the synagogue. This is so funny. Borenstein also performed under the pseudonym of Pedro Borin, and he appeared in Argentinian radio, showcasing different styles of music.
Everyone's in their shoes.
More modern, we are talking about 1970s, 1980s, and there are three Hazzanim. Here are the two synagogues that I was mentioning before, where both Pinchas Borenstein and David Itzkov perform. The one on the left is Libertad Synagogue, and the one on the right is Paso. As you can see, construction, architecture, very European. Let's hear Cesar Belenitsky, Adam Yesod Me'afar. Cesar is about 83, 84 right now, and he lives in Florida. He's still serving in the congregation in Florida, in the United States. This is part of the Unetane Tokef after Adam Yesod Me'afar. tell you, very popular in synagogues in Argentina, but I was never able to find the composer. How much more time? Isidoro, how longer do we have?
Filosofar influence.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Woo! All right. So I have 10 more slides. Hopefully we can make it.
So
All right. Minutes. So Bernardo Foyer, it's very hard to read this. He created the Coro Hazamir in Rosario, and this is one of the compositions he wrote. Very beautiful, very well known. He's actually his son, David Foyer. Yeah, Hazzan in Palm Beach for many years. Vivian Tausch is actually an arranger of synagogue music. You can see here on the top. This is a wedding miadir. Oh, this morning, Geiger, we went over this melody when we went through the melodies. And then it's a choral arrangement. I'm getting it. All right, so Victor Lane in Rosario, he was also a great composer of many Jewish settings. The synagogue is on the top in the center, also very beautiful building. Rosario is about, what is it, like 3 hours from Buenos Aires, something like that. It's a different state, beautiful Jalí. And then on the top left is the synagogue in Entre Rios, in Basaribaso. You know that song that you heard, Basaribaso steht Lehmann. So that's the synagogue. In more modern times, let's listen to these, some of these. So these are very different style. Nothing to do with cantorial music, much more related to, you would say, pop music. And let's hear the Shamru by Teddy Orlitz, which is the Hazen on the right.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Yeah, this is a style of music that became very popular in Argentina. And interesting enough, when you go to Buenos Aires to synagogues, the majority of them on Friday nights, they are packed. And it's something remarkable. Yeah, at the bottom we have Zev Malberg here. This is a recording I did with members of my congregation. It's a beautiful Adonai Malach. Let's listen a little bit to that. Later that all this music is published in a book that was done by the Cantors Assembly. That I recommend. All right, speaking of, so these two people, Gaston Mogomoni and Ari Litvak, were the compilers of all the South American melodies you can sing in synagogue. It's a beautiful book. I highly recommend it. Ruach Hadarom. Thanks in a collaboration with the Cantors Assembly. Let's hear, for example, Tzadik Katamar, which is a chacarera. Chacarera is a style of music from Argentina as well. The rhythms and the musical instrumentation is typical of South America. So you can hear a little bit of the South American influence. I expect all of you on Friday night to use this melody. And so we don't have time to play the others. Beautiful, also beautiful compositions. Ari Limbach is in Mexico. He's serving at Congregación Betel. It's one of the, I think it's the only conservative synagogue in Mexico City.
Yes.
Mexico City has a big Syrian Jewish population. And so, okay, good. Brazil. Brazil. So here we have a beautiful, gorgeous Hiddur Mitzvah that it was written by Carlos Lipskin and performed by Avi Burstein. One thing to notice that is really important is that there is only one cantorial school in South America, which is Argentina.
Is he still singing, Avi?
Yes.
Him.
Yeah. Gorgeous voice, you're going to hear it. That is the reason that many pulpits and many congregations throughout Latin America, it's with Argentinian rabbis and Argentinian cantors. So I know that this song has a lot of music, instrumentation at the beginning, so we can skip like a minute or a minute and a half. Very beautiful melody. I do this, there's a choir arrangement. Settings if you want it. I've done this setting with the Zamir Choral of Boston in a choir arrangement, really beautiful, so I recommend it. So we have 3 slides to go. Yes. All right. Seminario. This is where I studied. 23 cantors have graduated in 1991 and more than 100 rabbis. This was created by Marshall Meyer, an American rabbi who went to Argentina, created a school. And then on the right, it's this is my, the subjects that I took. You can see history, halakha, Bible, repertoire, cantillation, Jewish sources, choir direction. One thing that is very important to notice is that when I went to Cantorial school, I learned Ta'amei HaMikra Sephardic as well, because you may end up serving in the Sephardic congregation, so. And you have to know all this stuff.
Sorry, which kind of rabbinical or cantor is it? Is it liberal or orthodox?
Conservative, like Masorti.
Masorti.
Yes. Here you have some pictures of the early times. The one at the bottom right is a mission that we did in 6 months ago. So about 30 Hazzanim of Argentina, Brazil, Chile. We went to Israel with Keren Kayemet, and we did a program where we did concerts through Israel, but also volunteer, and we were very proud we were able to help. And on the bottom left, it's the publicity of the Cantorial School, all in Spanish, I'm sorry, no German there. So, yes. Now, some other famous musicians from Argentina. Lalo Schifrin, Daniel Barenboim, Gloria Feynman, and this is the last recording I want to play. Osvaldo Golifov is an opera composer and classical musical composer. He wrote a song that was sung by Misha Alejandrovich. So let's play a little bit and we'll conclude with that. It's also with the Kronos Quartet. That's a well-known melody. Again, you can find this online. Thank you, Russell. Then it continues and it creates a long variety. So, last slide, these are some of the books that I used for today. Trayectorias musicales, so the career of musicians from Argentina, Jewish musicians. Second book, very interesting, it says Jewish musicians that were exiled in Argentina during the Nazi era, 1933-1945. And then all the Yiddish theater are on the top. Now, an Argentinian article about Jewish music was created by this wonderful man here on the first row, Matt Osterklein. Read about it in collaboration with Cantor Jonathan Cohen. And in Save the Music is a wonderful website. If you don't know it, go there. There are a lot of pages of different Jewish musicians, cantors from Latin America. So thank you very much.